Hello! Thank you for checking this out. So, recently, I just got this new Evans drum head. I'm trying something new with my hybrid acoustic electronic setup, and after all these years, I have always used drum triggers on my main snare drum. And sometimes that gets limiting depending on the sound choices of the drum and or the sounds of the triggers I assign to it. So, I personally am going to try a new head, which isn't new for a lot of other people, but it's new for me. I've never used this before. The Evans Soundoff. What's amazing about these is that it is a complete mesh head, 14 mils, single ply, and you can use these for reduced volume practice if you're in an apartment or any type of living situation where you can't make that much noise. I didn't try this for that application. I'm trying this head because I'm going to place this on my auxiliary side snare drum, only dedicated for triggering. This is actually a tom batter head because they don't make dedicated snare mesh heads, or at least that I couldn't find, for 14 inches, but this should work nonetheless on my snare drum. Let's take a look. What I'm going to do is just swap out this head and place on the new mesh head. Make sure the hoop is clear, nothing on the bearing edge, clean. Make sure that your hoop is clean as well. I'm going to place the head on. Logo opposite from the snare clutch. Now let's just get these finger tightened. Decent amount of finger tension on these lugs. Alright, so it's best with 2 drum keys, tuning in stereo fashion. I'm going to start with 1 half turn, and I'm just going to move, because there's so few lugs on here, I'm just going to move in a circular fashion. There's a slight ripple around this edge here. Just going to get a little bit more tension. Quarter. Eighth turn. It's not doing a regular plastic head. So for the most part, it's generally in a usable tension right now. So I'm not quite sure what the tensile strength of the mesh heads are. Probably you don't want to stretch them as hard as a plastic drum head, because it is a very different material and it's obviously porous. It's mesh. So that's a good question to figure out how tight one can tune these heads. I don't think these were meant to be extremely tight anyways. Just enough to offer somewhat natural rebound, lower volume, and an opportunity for drum triggering. So now I can just assign all the snare sounds that I want to my auxiliary snare and leave my main snare just mic'd on its own. So, if you have used the Evans mesh drum heads, let me know what you think and what your experiences have been like. I would love to know. Just leave a comment or ask any questions, and I'm going to experiment and eventually get this drum in use in my hybrid acoustic electronic drum setup using my Roland TM6 Pro as my trigger module. So again, thanks for watching, and see you next time.